Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Albers, and welcome here to This Week in Anderson. I'm joined with my co-host here, Steve Ellis, and basically we didn't have the opportunity to kind of explain how this show's going to go. We were excited last week to open the show with Frank Brandy, a friend of ours who got the coaching job at Anderson High School. And basically this show's going to be about we're centering it more around sports, but we're also going to open it up more besides sports too, and their influence at Anderson and what Anderson's meant to a lot of people. And so it's kind of that we didn't really get to explain it last week. And Steve, we actually really got a better response than I didn't know what to expect. And a lot of people really like the podcast, and a lot of people reached out and said they want to be a part of this.
Which is great. And so it's fun because we've been talking about it for a long time, as you said. So, we're going to give this a go. And I know that we've sparked some interest with some people, and we certainly have a long list of people that we can certainly, bring on the podcast and talk to. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we'll what we're going to do basically is tonight in this broadcast, Steve and I are going to talk about some things that we're going to give you a little bit of history of both of us. And then we're also going to talk about some maybe we'll see how the time goes, but 3 to 5 things that we remember at Anderson sports wise, either at youth or high school, and if not that, then we'll get into maybe our adult playing days if we get into that. But got some pretty good history. And Steve, why don't you go ahead and explain, kind of give your background on where, how maybe, and also how you and I have become such good friends and how we've been friends for a long time.
Well, it's been great, Danny. I mean, obviously we're, getting up there in age, but we're still young at heart, and we've been around Anderson all of our lives, and we've been intertwined in some form or fashion through our families, and it's been a pretty incredible friendship that we've had. And I think it goes all the way back to middle school years and then up through high school, and then you and I went to college together. So we've got a lot of history.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. I was thinking about that too. I was trying to pinpoint the time when we kind of really started, and it kind of started a little bit in middle school, but it really ramped up when we got into high school. And obviously, you and I played sports together. We would play, and as we'll probably explain in later podcasts, your senior year is when we played basketball together. But yeah, we played basketball together at Anderson and had Phil Sinkovich. Yep. Hopefully, we'll get him on here one time.
Yep.
But then we've just been involved in sports, pretty much, all of our friendship. It seems like that's what a lot of the friendship's been centered around is sports.
It has been, and it goes back a long ways, and I think we know a lot about each other and probably know too much, and we can probably tell some good stories about each other that a lot of people may or may not know, but maybe that'll come at a future time.
Yeah, and a couple things that you and I've got involved obviously is you're the coach, obviously the coach at UC Claremont. I followed you, from coaching at Anderson with Frank. Then when you went over to Marymount, I went over there with you to Marymount, but I didn't broadcast. I just did the book for you, and then I followed you to UC Claremont, which is awesome. Is we broadcasting those games, which is just so much fun for me. And I'm just like it was back in our days when we played basketball at Anderson. How excited, since I never really played that much, I'd be on the bench and I close to probably getting technicals all the time because I'm screaming and yelling. And but it's exciting for me to be a part of that, and I appreciate you let me be a part of those games. And then obviously that, but then you've got Doug Ast that we're friends with, and Kyle Black, guys that you and I have. We played softball with Doug. Kyle played baseball against my brother Timmy. So we got a lot of, and obviously our families are really, really close. Always have been. So it's just really neat, and to do this is really cool because I'm sure we're gonna hit on some subjects that everybody's gonna like.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know us pretty well, but there might be some things that they don't know. So we'll see how that goes. So let's begin with you, Danny. Let's talk a little bit about how you became an Anderson and a diehard and going all the way through playing and what you've been doing since then.
Yeah, I tell you what, you think about all this stuff, and it's kind of weird that my mom and dad grew up in Norwood, and if my mom and dad did not decide to move and move our family to Anderson, I would probably went to Norwood. So
Yeah,
just
right.
that thing that my mom and dad did, took a drive and went to Linderwood Lane over there in
What
Summit Estates.
what was the reason? What brought them over to Summit
A
Estates?
better school district. They didn't. They wanted us to go to different schools than Norwood, because my dad was a big Purcell guy, and
Right.
I don't think my dad wanted the Catholic school thing for us, but he just wanted better schools. And so my dad, that decision, I mean, if they wouldn't have done that, and then we lived on Linderwood Lane for a while, and then mom, family was growing. We went to a bigger house on Clemson. That's where you and I pretty much hung out all the time. And
Yep.
then I just got into sports because of my dad and my brothers, especially Moose, the oldest. He played sports, got into that.
Yep. Yep.
So, I guess the one thing I would have to say my brothers were probably the better athletes. I was more of the rah cheer, guy. I wasn't as gifted as those guys in the sports. The one sport that I would say that I have over Moose by far was football.
Yeah.
He never played,
And
so
you were captain senior year.
yeah. So that was one. I mean, and obviously, being involved with that, and Greg, your brother, and I, and Brad, we've been broadcasting Anderson football now. We're working on year 30
Yeah.
in some form or fashion. So I've been tied in with your brothers
Incredible.
in that, and and I'm tied in with the Anderson High School Football Alumni Association. I started
Yep.
that with John Raymond, and that's just the love of Anderson High School, and not only that, but the kids there, and Chris Newton is just absolutely phenomenal.
The best.
Best 80 in the city of Cincinnati, hands down.
No question.
And it just makes it easier working for people like that. Zach McCormick's new there too. He's a great guy. And before that,
Brooksy.
yeah, Brooksy, man, he was incredible. So just all the people that you work from Anderson and the great relationships that you make with all these guys, the coaches, Vince Soriano, Geesting, and
Yep.
just all that. So on that flip side, and you and I became friends just because of that. Now talk a little bit about how, your story is a little bit different because your parents came from a totally different state.
Right. They came out here in '65 from West Virginia, and they had been out here before going to Coney Island, and they liked the area, so that's why they moved to the Anderson area, and obviously good schools, and being the youngest of four, I had a lot of games that I went to, and both my brothers, my sister playing all the sports and going to watch them play everything, and just kind of, trying to learn a little bit about what they do, and looked up to them and how they played. And I wanted to be as good as them when I got bigger, and then went through high school with you, and was lucky enough to play basketball and little bit of soccer, a little bit of baseball, and then went to college with you, and we're almost at the hip here. And then after college, got into coaching right away at Anderson, and was lucky enough to be there for 15 years. And then I didn't think I'd ever leave, and got the head coaching job at Marymount High School. I was there for 7 years, and then got the head coaching job at Claremont College 4 years ago, and just finished my 4th season there.
And Coach of the Year, thank you very much.
Coach of the Year, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I have to throw in about your basketball career at Anderson High School is that you, I believe, are in the it could be wrong, but I think I'm right, is that you were in you might be the assist leader or top in assist leaders at Anderson High School?
For this season. For a season. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd have to say you have to be one of the worst free throw shooters.
Well, you know what? That's why I pass the ball all the time.
Unfortunately, you didn't pass the ball to me, or I would average 4 points instead of 2.
I passed it to you in a Turpin game.
Yeah, one game. No, basically, you tell me where to line up. I didn't know where I was going because my head was chopped off. I was so excited to get in the game. No, but no, it's great. Your family, just the whole thing, and not only that, but you got great kids and a great wife too. That your kids are going to Anderson as well.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting. Kind of surreal having my kids, both my daughters in high school now, and one's a cheerleader and on a dance team, and the other one's on the soccer team, varsity girls soccer team, and it's pretty incredible to come full circle, because I still feel like, we're little kids, and both our parents are coming, and,
Right.
it's amazing, the how time flies.
Yeah, and it's the other thing too is kind of interesting to see that some of the people that we grew up with and went to high school with, their kids are in the high school or playing on the same teams, or you're seeing all these people that
Yeah.
it's just amazing. It just kind of shows how old we're getting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think both of us had pretty good role models with our parents.
Absolutely.
They taught us good values, and not to be serious about it, but both my parents were involved at Anderson, and their love of not just the township but the school,
Right.
just all the years they volunteered, and they're in the Athletic Hall of Fame for their service, and so that type of stuff is what fed off of me, and certainly for you as well, and just to give back and be a part of the community, and especially Anderson High School.
Well, saying to that real quick with your dad's the one that really got the broadcast starting for us 30 years ago.
Right.
And he also, if it wasn't for him, he had this board that you gave me that had all the scores back to, I don't even know
Yeah.
how long. So your dad helped
Incredible.
me with, yeah, he helped me with that, and showing the love. And the one picture that I just love is the picture of your dad at the St. X game when they lost, and he's got his hands on the cheek of
Yeah.
Brett Harrison. It just shows you that your dad, and he had his Anderson jacket on, and
Yeah.
just the love and the great job that your parents did was phenomenal. But one thing I want to kind of get into, we thought would be fun to talk tonight, was talk about we'll go 3 to 5, either 3 to 5
Fair enough.
sports moments, either when you played at Anderson High School or something with Anderson, or if we can't think of that, then let's go with some outside of like us playing sports or whatever.
Okay.
So give me some of the, if you can think of any that you have that have meant something to you at Anderson.
Well, I got 4.
Okay.
Okay. I got one as a player, one as a coach,
Oh wow.
one as a fan, and one as a dad.
Wow. I can guess. I could probably guess the dad.
Okay.
But I won't do that. I'm going to see if I'm right. You go ahead and tell me. Give me yours.
Okay. So as a player, it was both our senior years when we beat Turpin in basketball at home. That was probably the biggest win of the year. And obviously there's other games that are pretty cool to talk about, but that always hits home. As a coach, when I was coaching at Anderson with Frank years ago, helping being on the staff when they won the league in 2003.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure this shirt was the shirt we wore that night. but that was pretty cool. And as Frank was saying last week, those league titles are few and far between, and so it's pretty special. It's been 17 years ago now, and it's pretty special. As a fan, would be being in the stands for the state championship game for the football.
Yeah.
Nothing gives you more chills than
Mm-hmm.
when you bleed orange and black and everything, and it just makes you think about a lot of people, and especially my parents and everything.
Absolutely.
It's just an incredible honor just to be there. And then as a dad was this past October when Abby, my oldest daughter, was playing the varsity soccer in the district finals, and they were down 1-0 with 12 seconds to go, and off of a corner kick, Abby scored to tie the game.
Yeah, I figured that was going to be the one. That gets me excited too.
Every time I watch the video, I get chills, and there's lots of stuff, and and another cool one was Abby's first high school game, our first varsity game this year for soccer. It was a Friday night. It was one of those Friday night special games, and they had the football cheerleaders cheering at the girls' soccer game.
Oh, that's cool.
And Sammy, my youngest, was cheering at that game while Abby was in the field.
That's even better.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome. That's some good stuff right there. I figured that the dad one was that. I kind of figured that one was coming, but mine are kind of, they're all over the place really. Obviously as a player, I think obviously the Turpin games are always big, but my first varsity like true varsity game where I was going to start and
Yep.
play. And back then Anderson played McNick on a Saturday night, and it was fireworks weekend, and it was on a Saturday night. So I couldn't go to school Friday, get ready to go to the game. I had all day Friday, all day. My parents thought I was going nuts because I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't. I mean, I was. It was bad. I almost peed myself a couple times. I mean, it was. It was. And then it was funny. Is like on the film, I literally was so excited. I was running on kickoff. I literally get knocked out of the film, and Stowe is going nuts. Because I was so excited, I wasn't ready and I wasn't in position. This guy just drills me out of the camera.
You were just on cloud nine.
Yeah, just going out. But I'd say that was probably my favorite as a player. I've got a couple, I guess, as fan. The 81-82 Franks team, being a part of that and watching that whole run.
That was right up there. Yeah.
And going to all those games. And I was in, 8th grade, freshman, whatever I was. But
8th grade, yep.
Being a part of that was –
that
just
was
the
awesome.
magic and the crowds and Another One Bites the Dust. They always played that song
every time. Yeah.
And so that was big. I mean, that was really, really big. And then my brother Mike was on that JV team, so I got to go to a lot of those games. And then 07 state team, obviously the run that we had from 07 to 09 was just being a part of those broadcasts.
Crazy.
I literally, and Greg could probably vouch for, I literally was tearing up in the press box watching my team, Anderson High School go out of the state. When I played, we had 12 people in the stands or whatever. And to ever tell me that my high school was going to win a state championship just blows me away.
Yeah. No, and being in the stands, there was multiple tears, throughout the stands.
Yeah, it was pretty special. And then I think another one that I remember is just all the games that my brother Timmy. I got to watch Timmy play like he played a baseball game against Glen Essy and was just dominating them. And then to watch him go and play like a St. X and a LaSalle and Timmy threw like a 2-hitter or something, just so watching my brother Timmy was probably another big thrill of mine. I got as excited if I was playing. So that was pretty cool. But I think outside of all Anderson, Blarney Stone winning a championship in softball, baby. That was you and I were a part of that.
Well, you got to explain it.
So we always played softball together, and we decided that actually it was we've never played in the Metro before, and we decided to get in the Metro. And me and Steve, Dave Habig, his son Noah's on Anderson's football team.
Yeah.
Tommy Benassi, Woolprite, Dave Wool, all these guys from Anderson. A lot of guys from Anderson. Todd Riley Boomer was on that. Tommy Benassi.
Tony Diana, Mike Thatcher.
Mm-hmm. We decided to get in a tournament, and we ended up winning the dang thing. And I think every game we had to come back.
Yeah.
We were down in every game, and the final, I think it was the semifinal game or something like that. We actually won 2-1.
Yeah.
In softball. That's just unheard of.
Yeah.
And then we ended up winning the next one. But I think what was cool was that, we're on the big stage and everybody's watching us, and to play with Jim Gronfeld, who you and I love.
Yep.
And he was a lot older than us, and to see him literally cry after that was over was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so I think those were like the big thing. You agree with that? The Blarney Stone had to have been pretty awesome.
Blarney Stone was incredible because it was just a incredible ride. I mean, when you're in your 20s and you're playing, softball for fun, just to hang out with your buddies, stuff like that. But this got a little more serious, and for us to be that successful was pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty cool to look back on, talk about it.
And it was pretty cool that we're involved with some of the guys we still hang out with, and the stories that we have about these games and what we did and how we did it. And we went on and played, several more years and played in some big tournaments, and that was definitely some good times that we had back then.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what it was all about. And I love playing softball, but that's probably why I didn't get married till I was 30. But
I think you and I were playing just about every night.
Yeah.
And you were playing over there in Deer Park for a while.
All the time, and yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, talk a little bit about what we're going to hopefully get lined up here, which would be really cool. You know, we got a couple people in mind, but just kind of explain what we're going to try to shoot for.
Well, yeah, I mean, the more interest we get, hopefully, it continues on, that we get some guests on here that people want to, get caught up on, that hasn't yet nobody's heard from in years or what have you, and somebody that a lot of people knew or liked, and did something special or what have you, maybe meant something to somebody, so we're looking not just at sports, but all around Anderson. But obviously that's a big part of it, and we're anxious just to talk to them, because it's going to be just exciting for me and you. We're like little kids talking to them, and then go from there. The one thing is when we do that, are you gonna get rid of your beard, or what are you doing?
This beard is the Corona beard, so this is not coming off until the Corona thing is finalized. So I might have another month or two before this comes off. So I might even let it go to like Duck Dynasty type thing. I might let it go down.
If you could dye it, maybe. I don't know.
I could dye it orange and black. How about that? we got another thing we need to do is we got to thank your daughter Abby Ellis for doing what she's made the graphics for us, which was phenomenal. I mean, she did a great job, and we're going to try to use her as much as we can for whenever we do get guests on the show. We'll put that on the thing. But you and I have talked about this for 3-4 years now, wanting to try to finally do this, and I'm really looking forward to getting some of these some of these guests on here.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to people getting to know us, and to know you, and some of your background and some of the things that you've done. In fact, I've got the yearbook here of some of the pictures. I could.
Oh, we're gonna do that. Okay. Hey, no, hey, it's fair. It's all fair game. You want to show that, then you're opening up a can of worms. Is all I gotta say. Go ahead. Show it.
No. It's all good.
Because we could really get this thing rolling. And I think maybe what we might do too is we've always talked about. We just don't know how we're gonna do it. Like, talk about like an unbelievable thing or a story or something we might do in history, like Anderson history, something. We're going to incorporate other things in this, and we know there's a ton of people out there that people like to hear from, and hopefully we can get that going. And I just know that we had just such a great feedback from last week, and hopefully this continue to grow.
Right. And lastly, because of the fact that you do the UC Claremont games, which you do an unbelievable job at. I mean, and I've gotten so many compliments about what you do there, but that we've gotten used to each other doing interviews as opposed to our first time that we tried to do that.
There is a video out there, and I think you have it. I think Cameron has it. I really do, and I want to show that. People don't understand. We try to do an interview at the studio, the old studios in Anderson Community Television, and I got on a laughing kick about halfway through it, and then it took me 20 minutes to get back.
Yeah,
I mean, we were just laughing, but it's funny, and I'm cussing, and you're like, "Come on, man, what's wrong with you?" And we just couldn't get through. I just had this laugh. I mean, I literally would look at you and start doing what I'm.
Because we have a history of that going back to high school and especially in college when we get on elevators. But it's we've come a long way. Let's say that.
Well, and another thing too is we can hide it a little bit better than what we do. There's times when we've interviewed you during the basketball games, and I feel like it might be happening, and I have to look away or look down.
I know you do,
because I'm afraid I'm going to laugh.
I know you do.
So it's so if that happens during these broadcasts, that's what we're going through a little bit. But we're here to just make it fun and use our personalities and how we are, and just kind of try to make things just lighthearted and during these times, and hopefully everybody will enjoy it, and maybe we can even get some players that are currently playing it, some of the, and talk about how they're dealing with it too, that are at Anderson. So but Steve, man, it's awesome. I'm glad we're doing this, and Next week, hopefully, we'll have a guest for you, and we'll have another
We will.
face on here, and we'll get get him on there. And again, you guys can drop us questions if you want. We'll put out who we're going to have the week the week of. You can drop us an email at uspnsports@yahoo.com.
Yep.
And fire any questions you want, and we'll be glad to answer them.
Yep.
So
that's perfect.
Yep. Again, Steve, I appreciate it. And
thank you, Danny.
Wrap it up. So for Steve Ellis and Dan Albers, you've been watching This Week in Anderson. We'll catch you next week. Have a good night, everybody.